Howdy, folks. This is Ruth, and you are listening to our podcast, Cry, Laugh, Eat, Making Friends with Your Emotions. Welcome and thank you so much for being with us. And now you will hear from my best buddy, Helen.
Hello, I am Helen, and so happy to be here talking with you and talking with Ruth. We love to explore experiences and then look for the emotion and explore how that emotion could be helpful to us and be a friend. So along that line, I'm thinking of an experience, Ruth, that I had recently over the Christmas break when our little grandchildren were staying here with us, and it was so lovely. And so I'll paint you the picture that I had in my mind this day. We just had little Archie, who's 18 months, and Parker, who's 3, with us while Macy was out doing something with Mummy and Daddy. And I had this great idea. My husband, Thane, had come home from work. I perhaps wasn't noticing the level of tiredness he had because my picture was, let's go and do something together. Now, we really needed to get some food and stock up the fridge. It's Christmas time, it's busy, and I wanted to have plenty to eat and something for dinner. So I thought we could go to the supermarket together with Parker and with Archie, and we can giggle and laugh and choose all the shopping together. Isn't that a lovely picture? And Thane, bless his heart, said he was very happy to come along. So we pile into the car, and then we're driving just a couple of minutes from home. And in my picture, I pick probably a 15-minute drive to a lovely fruit and vegetable market where there's also a supermarket right next to us.
And everyone's smiling and happy.
Yes, as we drive, we usually sing in the car. And
chatting nicely to each other. Were the boys alert or were they tired too?
When I put them in the car and we started driving, I thought, oops, I picked a time when they will easily fall asleep. And it was late afternoon, so it was not a good time for them to fall asleep. And as we drove, I had in my mind the fastest way to get to the place we were going. And
like we women do.
Like we women do. And Thane turned on the indicator and turned right, where I could see straight ahead was way faster. And I'm like, Thane, where are you going? Well, this way works just as well, doesn't it? He wasn't rude or anything. I said, well, yes, it does. But when you've got grandchildren in the car that are about to fall asleep, you're adding about 5 to 10 minutes to our drive.
So in his mind, he has that all roads lead to Rome.
Yes.
But you want to get to Rome today. Not next week.
That's right. So I'm starting to feel a little bit annoyed. Why would you take this way? I'm thinking, I do not understand why you would go a whole block out of the way when we were already on the road there.
And for those listeners, please understand that we love our husbands and This is all a fun thing.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not being in the least bit critical of it, but I do want to add I do understand. I was just thinking as you said that and you're getting annoyed how I remember a time we had people coming over for dinner. There was so much to do. The kids were little. And George, bless his heart, decided to go and put up in the garage the rubber band weight things. I have no idea why that all of a sudden became a priority right in the middle of so many things to do. So I understand your annoyance, and listeners out there, I bet you can think of different situations you've been in where someone you love, maybe a child or a brother or sister does something that you don't get.
And I think if any men listening right now will probably relate to
response.
Yeah, going, oh, why did you just let me drive? I know what I'm doing.
They'll be sitting there going, poor thing.
I'm sure they're thinking that.
Carry on with the story. Yeah. It was great.
Well, I tried to keep my annoyance inside me.
How did you do that?
I was just thinking, okay, come up with a solution so that there's no more crazy right turns when they should be straight ahead. So
were you biting your tongue at all?
Yeah. I was just thinking, okay, I want this happy picture, so I'll keep the happy picture. So I just said, oh, Thane, would you mind when we get to the end of Smith Street, will you take that left turn so we take
the shorter route
to where we were going? And he's like, okay. Oh, good. And then just a little bit up Smith Street, he puts his indicator on, and I'm thinking, no, he's not turning here. That's like way too early. But the car did turn there, and I'm like, Thane, where are you going? And then he just, in his serious voice, we only really have these kind of voices in the car.
Through gritted teeth. Only in the car. Oh, boy, that's dangerous, isn't it? Yeah.
You said, would I please turn off and take the turn off Smith Street? That is what I'm doing. And I said, I didn't say to take this turn off. Well, I thought you did, he said.
Temperature's rising, rapid heart rate,
yes,
red faces.
Definitely, because I could see that this route meant there were about 30 traffic lights, whereas in my mind the other one only had a couple. I forget what I said then, but it's like, I can't believe you took this turn off. It's going to take so long now. The boys are going to fall asleep. Well, you drive then, he said, and he took his belt off and opened the door. We were at a red light.
I know, at
the red light. I thought that was awesome, though, because it's like, good. I said it. I hopped out and I was like, great, now I can drive.
Picture that, folks out there? I can. Just
trying to speak really calmly, but
in front of the little ones.
Yeah, yeah. They would have known we were annoyed for sure. And then we hopped back in the car and I still was steaming. Really glad, though, that I'm in the driver's seat, which is so, yeah. I'm not proud of that, but I did think, okay, now we'll get there quicker. But then I actually realised I have to go the way he's going. What's the difference? And then I thought, I'm not going that way. There's way too many traffic lights. So I had to go up the road a bit and do a U-turn. But in the meantime, I'm like, now I have to do whatever I was saying. And he said, will you please not raise your voice in front of the children? And I'm thinking, it's not raised how much I'd like it to be raised. And so I just quietly said, okay then, I'll talk in a really calm voice and tell you, you are so annoying right now.
And you've just introduced the feeling for today, the emotion, annoyance.
Yeah.
And annoyance is anger-based.
Yes, that is right.
Can you just share with us, first of all, the physical changes? You know, what was happening? Because you go out the door, you got this lovely picture, it's all relaxed, your body's happy. What happened when you were getting annoyed? Do you remember?
Yeah, I definitely get tense. My muscles are tense. My throat's probably a bit tight because you're holding in. I do like to be calm, so I'm trying to be calm, and really I'm not talking like I'm very calm. Do you know what I mean?
I admire you. I really do. The fact that you were able to stay calm for the sake of the children, and also I know you wouldn't like to lose it. But to the listeners out there, these are very natural feelings. Mm-hmm. And if you do lose it, please don't feel that you are not a good person. We all feel annoyance at different things. There can be so many different things that might annoy you. There are things to be learned from these experiences that we have. And Helen, can you share with us some of the insights that you gained from that particular experience that might help you and us next time when we're feeling really annoyed?
Yeah, I can. I'll tell you a tiny bit more of the story. Okay. Where it ends. We made it to the supermarket. We put little Archie in the little stroller we had, and Parker sat in the shopping trolley. It's Christmas time. We get in the supermarket. It's crazy busy. So pushing a stroller and a trolley in the supermarket was not smart at all, because we're trying to talk to each other about what we're going to get. And there was just so many people. And Archie started to get a bit fidgety and wanted to get out of the stroller and be with Parker. And then we're stuck with the stroller and we're trying to talk at the same time. And I just burst out laughing because my picture of what was perfect was getting a bit stressful because people were waiting around us. And I burst out laughing to Thane and said, my beautiful picture was just a really silly picture to have at Christmas time, and we're all tired, and I just want to be with you and the boys. let's go home. And we did. And we laughed on the way home. To come back to your question, the insight I got from that was sometimes your picture, it just doesn't fit the moment. And each of us will see things through our own eyes and have our own perspectives. I had this glossy little picture, so I'm seeing everything through that glossy little picture. Knowing Thane well enough, probably had his perspective. I'm going to support Helen and be with the grandchildren, and whatever Helen needs, I'm going to help, because that's Thane, even if he's exhausted.
And the other thing I just realised is that sometimes we can both have the same picture, but we might
Get to it a different way.
Like, for example, maybe Thane thought, yes, I'm looking forward to this lovely, relaxing time out with my grandchildren. And maybe he took the longer way because it was more relaxing.
And that could be so true.
And he'd just take his time, because I know Thane, he loves to really enjoy each moment and be very present. So you're thinking to get there quickly. That suits your picture. Well, what he sees is, no, we need to relax. So let's just take our time and we'll go the long way. So you both had the same goal, but maybe you just were heading along different paths. They may have been parallel.
That's right. And when I said, could we please make sure we turn off here, he would have taken the first turn off that he recognised that could get where we were going, trying to make things better for me. And so that's his perspective while I'm stuck in mine. And I realised it's just different perspectives. It's neither right or wrong. Neither of us were right or wrong. It's just different. And different's not bad or good.
No, that's excellent. And that reminds me of a saying by Anonymous that we are diverse by design.
What do you think that is?
Diverse by design. I was going to ask you what you think that is. Well, I think diverse means different, that there are many different types of people that come from different backgrounds, different cultures, and even within the same culture, we're all raised differently. And even in the same family, you can be raised the same way, but be completely different in your perspective. So the first thing is, that's by design. We're not meant to all be clones. So it's by design that we're different. And what you see is that in those differences, there's a lot of value in being able to come from different spaces.
There's a lot of value if you give space for that value, because when you don't, it's like me getting stuck on that picture. We have to go this way because that's the fastest. But the thing I realised too is you have to communicate your thoughts too. You can't ever presume that the other person knows the picture in your mind.
What a brilliant lesson to learn. So if you were to leave a message for our listeners that might help them deal with the annoyance emotion, what would you leave with them?
I would share, be careful not to assume you know other people's thoughts or intentions. Just going back to my experience, not to assume that you know other people's thoughts, or that they know your thoughts if you haven't shared them. They can't know what you're thinking.
Such a great point.
And just because we're a couple and we may have lived together for years, it still doesn't mean they know what you're thinking in each moment. And we expect them to sometimes. And I think that on that day I expected Thane to have already seen my picture. I don't want to do that. I also don't want to be the boss. I don't want to be the boss, and I sure as heck don't want Thane to be the boss. I want us to share, be equal and share. And it can't be that when I haven't even shared my little pretty picture with him.
Because I think assumptions and expecting someone to be the same as you and think the same as you is in some ways showing a lack of respect for that person's individuality and their uniqueness. When you said assumptions, it just reminded me of the Jack Reacher books, which my sons love.
Oh, yes.
And the hero, Jack Reacher, always says, assumptions kill. So what do you think that means, that assumptions kill? What are they killing?
I'm thinking on the spot here. Assumptions. If you keep having assumptions, ultimately it will kill relationships. But in each moment, whenever you assume something,
without checking the facts.
That's right. You're killing openness. You're killing communication. You're killing the other person's opportunity to be free to be them.
And for you to be free.
I love that.
So we've covered a lot of things here in this little story. The emotion today was anger, and we were focusing on how one of the faces of it, annoyance, can actually be a help to you and be your friend. Well, there's a line from our book where anger shares one of its messages about how it can help us. Anger says, I am the emotion in your heart that makes you care, value, and defend. And what I've learned from that is sometimes we focus on the defend bit. I'll repeat what Angus said so it's clear in your mind again. I am the emotion in your heart that makes you care, value, and defend. I think anger sitting beside me with its arm around me would gently whisper, don't get stuck on defending. Don't forget who you are. Caring and valuing are values that I hold very deeply. Caring and valuing the man that I love is important to me. So that little reminder from annoyance, whoa, don't get stuck in defending. That's how anger and one of its little feelings, annoyance, can be a friend to us. It can remind us to care and value things that matter to us and the people that matter to us.
Okay, so in conclusion, thank you so much for joining us this week. We would really love to hear from some of you and your stories and your experiences. And you can write to us or contact us through the links on the show notes.
Thanks for spending some of your time with us today. We love sharing our podcast with you, and we can't wait to come back and spend time with you again next week. Take care until then.
Bye.
Hello, I am Helen, and so happy to be there.
Be there. To be here.
Welcome to our podcast, Cry, Laugh, Eat, making friends with your emotions. Emotions. That just reminded me. Macy used to say, I'm swimming in the ocean. Sorry, I'm warmed up now.
Anyway, welcome to our podcast. What were you going to share, Helen?
I was going to ask you, Ruth, do you want to go first?
Oh, all right then. I'll go second.
I love this woman.